This is going to be a tough topic to talk about, and a divisive one, I'm sure, but I would appreciate it if you hear me out as I relay the news that's going on right now, in addition to giving some of my own thoughts and takeaway opinion, so please be civil to each other. But welcome back to Beyond AR TV. My name is John. Let's talk about this situation with Spotify, the podcast and music streaming subscription service, Joe Rogan, the #1 podcaster in the entire world, and Neil Young, a music legend who has now pulled his music from Spotify because of misinformation over COVID-19 and vaccines. Earlier in January, the legendary Neil Young penned an open letter on his website to Spotify, essentially saying, "You cannot have Young and Rogan on the same platform," and his reasoning stood behind the misinformation that's being spread by Joe Rogan and his guests on their podcast, and Spotify not doing anything to at least affix a label to it saying that this is a misinformation, or else we're going to deem this inappropriate, maybe we're not going to put out this episode. If you're not aware, Joe Rogan is now the #1 podcast in the world. He has been for a while, but he is now exclusive to Spotify. They spent triple digits making him exclusive to that platform, so it doesn't surprise me, or probably most of you, that Spotify has sided with not Neil Young, who had about 6 million monthly listeners at the time of his removal from the platform, versus #1 podcast in the world that comes out multiple times per week. I think I'm not a listener or a fan of Joe Rogan, but from what I see, more than 10 million plays per episode on average, multiple times per week. It's the precedent that Neil Young is standing for that I completely understand. He's very upset about misinformation being spread, and while I'm not a Joe Rogan fan at all, I understand, I guess to a degree, the appeal, how he's attracted his legions of fans, because he loves to talk, he loves to have a variety of guests, and he also loves to theorize. And to a degree, that can be acceptable, but when you're theorizing about something that is a public health crisis and also spreading openly false misinformation to your millions of listeners, it becomes a problem. And I think that Spotify should at least be affixing something with some sort of misinformation tag like you would see on Twitter or YouTube. Spotify notoriously doesn't really moderate its content. But my question is, to a lot of people who are now canceling their Spotify accounts, why was this the final line in the sand? And also, how do you navigate really everything else that you do in your life? Whether you go grocery shopping at Walmart, are you supporting a terrible company there that have a bad track record? Or do you buy something off of Prime shipping on Amazon where the drivers have to pee in a bottle? Do you draw the line there, or are you just trying to stir up something on social media to get more people behind you? Neil Young is going to be just fine, because not only is he available on Apple Music and other places like Tidal, Apple Music has even flexed that they're now the home of Neil Young, which I wonder how long that will last before Apple Music gets in hot water. Are they going to have some anti-vaxxer song? I think that there is definitely a line between promoting something in your playlist. It's like when YouTube maybe demonetizes something or takes it out of recommended. They're not going to push the video to anyone, but you can still see it on the site. Are other places like Apple Music and Spotify going to start doing that? But now that Neil Young has removed his stuff, he's going to miss out on about 60% of his streaming revenue, according to him and his label, another letter that they published. I think he's going to be just fine, because what I could see on Rolling Stone, he's making over $6 million a year just from his high-res audio streaming subscription that's $1.99 a month, and you get access to his entire catalog. Anthony Fantano, who most of you probably know, I've worked with Anthony in the past a few times, and he's the biggest music critic on YouTube and in general these days. He tweeted out, "Had to say bye-bye Spotify," and he tweeted a screenshot of his cancellation for Spotify Premium. I've already got an Apple Music account, but kept this one around for the streams and easy to access independent artist submissions. And then he said, "I'm not urging everyone to copy me, and I don't look down on anyone who does differently than me." Personally, I'm a big fan of the Spotify interface, and I've always enjoyed making playlists on there. I just think it's a lot more easy and intuitive to use. I used to have both Spotify and Apple Music, like Anthony was saying, and I agree to a degree that Apple Music is better for certain things, but I just appreciate, I guess, the streamlined experience and feeling that I get with Spotify, and I've been using it since like 2012, so a decade under my belt. It's kind of hard to switch. It would be like going from iPhone to Android. Do I think that Spotify needs to do better? Obviously, yes. I would love to see them do better, not only in this regard, but in terms of actually paying their artists, the people that are uploading their music or their podcasts to the platform. Do they need to be paid more for the streams that they're bringing and the value that they're bringing to this company? Absolutely. But I also see that Spotify has the free tier, and a lot of people use that ad-supported format as a way to get into music. Maybe they can't afford it, maybe they're a student in college, even with the discount, they just can't afford to shell out the extra few bucks, and they're gonna say, fuck it, I'll listen to the ads, I'll keep using Spotify. I think that Neil Young has every right in the world to actually remove his music from the platform, and anybody else that wanted to follow suit, whether it be there or a certain issue that they find with another platform, if they no longer want to have their music or their content available there, that is totally their call. And obviously Spotify did not meet the demands, and maybe something will change in the future if a bigger artist gets on board. Not that Neil isn't massive, but you get what I'm saying. If like an Ariana Grande or a Halsey or somebody of that level of fame actually decided to pull their music. But at this point, I don't see Spotify doing anything, and I would like to see them maybe listen up, not just to Neil, but to the other artists, to the other doctors that have signed off on the misinformation, not just from Joe Rogan, but I'm sure plenty of other podcasters and artists that are spreading outright lies in their content that they're putting out to the world. Free speech is definitely one thing, and if you're out in the world, you can say whatever the hell you want to if you're in the United States, and it's going to be protected by the Constitution. But if you're on a private platform using their service and spreading knowingly false information about vaccines, please go get vaccinated, people, if you haven't already. I've been boosted, I've had all my shots. I am not a Joe Rogan fanboy, for anybody wondering. I just feel tied up in knots over this one because it's such a complicated issue, and I think there's a lot of great points that are being made against Spotify for a myriad of reasons, not just the misinformation stuff, but the payment of artists and the way that they treat their talent. No, I'm not going to be canceling my Spotify premium subscription. I am definitely attached at the hip. Is there something that would make me cancel my subscription? I don't know. Is there something that would make you cancel your subscription? At the end of the day, you're thinking about it right now and you're thinking, oh, maybe I need to cancel my Spotify, because you're seeing a ton of public backlash against it. It's like when people were canceling their Netflix accounts because of cuties, and everything now on Hulu with the Pam and Tommy thing. People are canceling their Hulu accounts. And I just don't think it does a ton at the end of the day. Maybe I could be proven wrong, but just take a look at your finances right now. Who are you giving your money to? Do you even really know at the end of the day? Look into all of the companies, and if you're canceling Spotify, then there's probably a few others that you're gonna need to cancel too. Can you tell that talking about this topic stressed me out? I'm sorry if this was a little jumpy and all over the place, but it was tough for me to pull together because I do see several perspectives, and I don't think that necessarily I or anybody else is 100% right. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments section. Check out a couple of my recent videos on screen now. Hit that like button, and I'll be back soon on Beyond AR TV.